Okay, let's continue our reading. The Thai forest tradition would not exist as it does today were it not for the influence of one particular great master. This was the Venerable Ajahn Mun Buridatta. He was born in the 1870s in Ubon province, where Thailand borders Laos and Cambodia. It was then and still is one of the poorer quarters of this country, but it is also one where the harshness of the land and the good-humored character of the people have led to a depth of spirituality rare in the world. You'll find this interesting. Okay, firstly, we can see how even as a great teacher like Ajahn Chah, he also has a prior teacher, prior bhikkhu. So this is Venerable Ajahn Mun Buridatta. Now, for me, the interesting part is that every teacher has a prior teacher, and we trace it all back to the Buddha. So this is historically, say, astonishing. And then, for me, this point is also interesting. You'll notice that in the poor, when the country is poor, usually that is where Buddhism thrives somehow. And when the country is prosperous, you usually don't see much Buddhism. So this is quite a paradox for me. So you can compare countries like Sri Lanka, where Buddhism thrives, and then Vietnam or Nepal, not Nepal, Tibet, and compared to Western countries like America. Well, America, there's some Buddhism, fortunately, but not as pervasive as Sri Lanka or Buddhist countries like Vietnam or even Singapore and Malaysia. Singapore is quite an exception, but Buddhism is not totally as widespread as Sri Lanka in Singapore. And we have some other religions as well. Okay, Ajahn Mun was a youth with a lively mind. He excelled at the local art of Mo Lam, spontaneously versified folk song, and also felt strongly drawn to spiritual practice. Soon after his ordination as a bhikkhu, he sought out Venerable Ajahn Sao, one of the rare local forest monks, and asked him to teach him meditation. He also had recognized that a rigorous adherence to the monastic discipline would be crucial to his spiritual progress. He became Ajahn Sao's student and threw himself into the practice with great vigor. So, Ajahn Chah's teacher is Ajahn Mun, and then Ajahn Mun's teacher is Venerable Ajahn Sao. Okay, Sister Chai Kwan, would you like to continue?
Even though both of these elements, that is, meditation and strict discipline, might seem unremarkable from the vantage point of the present day, at that time, monastic discipline had grown extremely lax throughout the region, and meditation was looked upon with great suspicion. Probably only those who were interested in the dark arts would be foolish enough to go near it, and it was thought likely to drive one insane or cause possession by spirits. In time, Ajahn Mun successfully explained and demonstrated the usefulness of meditation to many people, and also became an exemplar of a much higher standard of conduct for the monastic community. Furthermore, despite living in the remote provinces, he became the most highly regarded of spiritual teachers in his country. Almost all of the most accomplished and revered meditation masters of the 20th century in Thailand were either his direct disciples or were deeply influenced by him. Ajahn Chah was among these.
Thanks, Sister Choi Kwan. So this shows how great, even before Ajahn Chah's teacher is also extremely influential. And then here you can see, at some point, monastic discipline had grown extremely lax through the region. So we can see Buddhism sometimes it comes in a cycle. Sometimes you have strict discipline, and sometimes the monastic become lax. Yeah. But overall, from what I heard, we are in a Dharma degeneration. It eventually will go down. Yeah. Maybe it will go up and down, but the trend will be go down eventually until a new Buddha arises. At least that's what I heard. Okay, we finished the section of the forest tradition. Let's continue with the next section, Ajahn Chah. Sister Saiken, would you like to continue?
Ajahn Chah. Ajahn Chah was born into a large and comfortable family in a village in Ubon province, northeast Thailand. On his own initiative, at the tender age of 9, he opted to move out of the family home and went to live in the local monastery. He was ordained as a novice and still feeling the call of the religious life. On reaching the age of 20, took higher ordination. As a young bhikkhu, he studied some basic Dharma, the discipline, and other scriptures. Later, dissatisfied with the slack standard of discipline in his village temple and yearning for guidance in meditation, he left these relatively secure confines and undertook the life of a wandering or tudong bhikkhu. He sought out several of the local meditation masters and practiced under their guidance. He wandered for a number of years in the style of an ascetic bhikkhu, sleeping in forests, caves, and cremation grounds, and spent a short but enlightening period with Ajahn Mun himself. Here is a description of that most significant of encounters from the forthcoming biography of Luang Por Chah, Upalamani, a play on words meaning both the jewel of Ubon province and the jewel in the lotus, composed by Pra Ong Nguyen. At the end of the retreat, Ajahn Chah, together with 3 other monks and novices and 2 laymen, set off on the long walk back to Isan, the northeast of Thailand. They broke the journey at Bangor, and after a few days' rest, began a 250 kilometers hike northward. By the 10th day, they had reached the elephant white stupa of Tat Panom, an ancient pilgrimage spot on the banks of the Mekong, and paid homage to the Buddha's relics enshrined there. They continued their walk in stages, by now finding forest monasteries along the way in which to spend the night. Even so, it was an arduous trek, and the novice and the layman asked to turn back. The group consists of just 3 monks and a layman when they finally arrive at Wat Pio Nong Nani, the home of the Venerable Ajahn Mun. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Sister Saiken. Let's see. Oh, it's quite a long story. Okay. Okay, first of all, I'm impressed with this. Dissatisfied with the slack standard of discipline, left these relative secure confines. and undertook the life of a wandering or tudong bhikkhu. Okay. He wandered for a number of years in the true style of ascetic bhikkhus, living in forests, caves, cremation grounds, and then spent some time with Ajahn Mun. Yeah. This is the style that usually most of the monks adopt in the Buddha's time, sleeping in forest caves, cremation ground, instead of sleeping in a temple. I'm not sure if I can ever do this. Sleeping in forest caves. Yeah, I'm a spoiled city boy, learning the Dharma through Zoom. If I go out in the jungle, I would die in few hours. Perhaps that's why I don't get enlightened. Then there is
Brother Marcel, maybe hard to say. Maybe, your biography later will become, it starts with, Marcel was born in a comfortable life, in a city, he has a good job, but one day he had this inclination and he decided to leave the, mundane life. Keep your aspiration.
sadhu. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, maybe it will happen. Yeah. But even if I ordain, I think I will stay in monastery. Will I sleep in the forest? For now, I don't think so. Okay, but thanks for the vote of confidence, Sister Billy. Yeah, maybe it will happen. Okay, so this is the beginning of the story of the meeting of Ajahn Chah with Venerable Ajahn Mun. Sister Aiki, would you like to continue?
As they walked into the monastery, Ajahn Chah was immediately struck by its tranquil and secluded atmosphere. The central area, in which stood a small meeting hall, was immaculately swept, and the few monks they caught sight of were attending to their daily chores silently. With a measured and composed gracefulness, there was something about the monastery that was like no other that he had been in before. The silence was strangely charged and vibrant. Ajahn Chah and his companions were received politely, and after being advised where to put up their glots, large umbrellas on which mosquito nets is hung, they took a welcome bath to wash off the grime of the road. In the evening, the three young monks, their double-layer outer robes folded neatly over their left shoulders, minds fluctuating between keen anticipation and cold fear, made their way to the wooden sala, meeting hall, to pay respects to Ajahn Mun. Crawling on his legs towards the great master, flanked on both sides by the resident monks, Ajahn Chah approached a slight and aged figure with an indomitable diamond-like presence. It is easy to imagine Ajahn Mun's bottomless eyes and his deeply penetrating gaze boring into Ajahn Chah as he bowed 3 times and sat down at a suitable distance. Most of the monks were sitting with eyes closed in meditation. One sat slightly behind Ajahn Mun, slowly fanning away the evening's mosquitoes. As Ajahn Chah glanced up, you would have noticed how prominently Ajahn Mun's collarbone jutted through the pale skin above his robe, and how his thin mouth, stained red with betel juice, formed such an arresting contrast to the strange luminosity of his presence. As is a time-honored custom among Buddhist monks, Ajahn Mun first asked the visitors how long they had been in the robes, the monastery had practiced in, and the details of their journey. Did they have any doubts about the practice? Ajahn Chah swallowed. Yes, he did. He had been studying Vinaya texts with great enthusiasm, but had been discouraged. The discipline seemed too detailed to be practical It didn't seem possible to keep every single rule. What should one's standard be? Ajahn advised Ajahn Chah to take the two guardians of the world, Hiri, a sense of shame, and Ottappa, intelligence, fear of consequences, as his basic principles. In the presence of those two virtues, he said, everything else would follow. He then began to discourse on the threefold training of Sila, Samadhi, and Panya, the four roads to success, and the 5 spiritual powers. Eyes half closed, his voice becoming stronger and faster as he proceeded, as if he were moving into a higher and higher gear. With absolute authority, he described the way things truly are and the path to liberation. Ajahn Chah and his companions sat completely enwrapped. Ajahn Chah later said that although he had spent an exhausting day on the road, hearing Ajahn Mun's Dharma talk made all of his weariness disappear. His mind became peaceful and clear, and he felt as if he were floating in the air above his seat. It was late at night before Ajahn Mun called the meeting to an end, and Ajahn Chah returned to his glot aglow. On the second, okay, do I continue?
That's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for reading the long paragraph. So this is the early encounter with Ajahn Mun, and this part is interesting. Did they have any doubts about the practice? Ajahn Mun asked. Ajahn Chah said, yes, he did. He had been studying the Vinaya with great enthusiasm, but become discouraged. It's so detailed. It's not practical at all. It's very difficult to keep every single rule. So, what should one's standard be? If you read the Vinaya, you will know there's a lot of impractical rules. For example, when you shower, you have to put on a certain robe, showering robes. Yeah. So what is the guideline? Ajahn Mun advice. We can also take this advice. Take the two guardians of the world, Hiri, a sense of shame, and Ottappa, intelligent fear of consequences, as basic principle. And from then on, all the rules would follow this principle. If we have this Hiri and Ottappa strong enough. Okay, 1, 2, 3. I think we can finish this story by today. Sister Billy, would you like to continue?
On the second night, Ajahn Mun gave more teachings, and Ajahn Chah felt that he had come to the end of his doubts about the practice that lay ahead. He felt a joy and rapture in the Dharma that he had never known before. Now, what remained was for him to put his knowledge into practice. Indeed, one of the teachings that had inspired him the most on those 2 evenings was this injunction to make himself Sikhi-Putto, that is, a witness to the truth. But the most clarifying explanation, one that gave him the necessary context or basis for practice that he had hitherto been lacking, was of a distinction between the mind itself and the transient states of mind that arose and passed away within it. Ajahn Mun said they are merely states. Through not understanding that point, we take them to be real, to be the mind itself. In fact, they are all just transient states. As soon as he said that, things suddenly became clear. Suppose there's happiness present in the mind is a different kind of thing. It's on a different level to the mind itself. If you see that, then you can stop. You can put things down. When conventional realities are seen for what they are, then it's ultimate truth. Most people lump everything together as the mind itself, but actually there are states of mind together with the knowing of them. If you understand that point, then there's not a lot to do. On the, okay, yeah.
Actually, you can finish this left with two.
Oh, okay. On the third day, Ajahn Chah paid his respects to Ajahn and led his small group off into the lonely forest of Puja. Once more, he left no Chu behind him, never to return again, but with his heart full of an inspiration that would stay with him for the rest of his life.
Okay, thanks, Sister Billy. Okay, actually left with a few paragraphs. Let's finish today. Oh, it's like I can want to go already. One, two.
I think we can stop.
I can stop.
Probably we just read the last para, which is so, no, the one before, the one that, the one before. So Ajahn says about this different level of, the mind and the knowing of the mind, and the sort of like, the second one. He says they are just states, merely states. All these, transient states of the mind, rise and pass, which is what, when we practice, all the variables have been trying to teach us how to look at this attaching mind. So we lump everything together. That is what's happening to us now. The point there that say most people lump everything together to be the mind itself. That's why we take all these states, all these pleasant feeling, all these unpleasant feeling to be mind, instead of actually they are just transient states of the mind that arises. So if we can be a third party, that means be objective about the happenings in our life, then we can separate this mind, this knowing mind, from the mundane whatever that's happening. I don't know how to explain it, but this point strikes me that actually recently what Venerable Chun Yin has been teaching us to observe, whatever that you're doing, your sixth sense base in contact with the external. Don't have any judgment, don't have any expectation. You just see it happening and ceasing, happening and ceasing. And you are able to look at this mind that comes up with all this after this contact. Then you have this feeling, then you have all this clinging attachment to pleasant states, and then unpleasant states you reject. Our mind very easily will go into all this because we take that as the me, mine, and myself. So this is the interesting part, and this is, I think, is the most important part, that if you want to see the ultimate truth, which is you want to attain Nibbana, then you have to work hard on this. That means in our everyday life, you have to separate all these transient states and treat it as just, arising, ceasing, arising, ceasing. This is not mine, this is impermanent, and by nature it is like that. It is like that. So I think this paragraph is very important for us. Because we are just lumping everything together. That's why we have attachment, we cannot let go, and we don't see the truth. So this Ajahn is trying to teach, which is what the Buddha has been trying to teach us, by using all the 37 factors of enlightenment. Later on, Ajahn also teach Ajahn Chah about the 5 powers, and all that. And yeah, this point is, to me, so important. And the previous one about the Hiri and Otapa, for Brother Hongji is 惭跟愧, 无惭跟无愧, the Hiri, the shame, sense of shame, to guide us in our precept, like what you said before. So there are a lot of precepts, and why do we observe the precept? Because of these two guide. Basically we want to be harmless to all beings. So if you have a sense of shame, and you fear the consequence, because once you do something that is unwholesome, we know the truth is whatever unwholesome things that you do, there is going to be unwholesome consequence when condition is available or arise. So whenever we practice and do action from our body, speech, and mind, if we have these two as a guide, then we will not bring harm to all beings. Then it just makes sense that there should be no killing, no stealing, no sexual misconduct, and no lying, because all these will bring harm to other beings. So I think this is very, very great today. I'm very full of Dharma joy. I see these teachings from Ajahn and Ajahn Chah. That's my sharing for today.
Okay. Thanks for the elaboration, Sister Saikyang. I definitely agree that if we observe carefully, we will notice all the transient states of mind. All comes and go, like Saikyang said, arise and cease. So that's our job when we meditate, to notice all of these transient states. And of course, there's also Hiri and Otapa, sense of shame and fear of consequences, intelligent fear of consequences. Some people don't have sense of shame at all. That's the people you will read in the news commit crimes and no fear, and maybe they, well, at least at the point of doing that, maybe they don't think of the consequences. Okay, anyone else would like to add on? Thanks, Sister Saikyang. Sister Billy, yes.
I want to go back to the paragraph about the transient state of mind.
Yes.
I just want to confirm if my understanding is correct, just read very fast. Is the third line of that paragraph, right? Suddenly they became clear. Then he says, suppose there is happiness present in the mind. It is a different kind of thing. It's on different level to the mind itself. So here the question is actually, so he's saying that if you know there is happiness, is actually, we should separate the happiness that's present there and the mind. That's first question. Then the second part, right, if we read on, is that if you see that, then you can stop. You can put things down. Does it mean then, once we can separate the two, we are aware, we can stop that clinging to that happiness? We can put that down. Is that how we read this explanation?
To me, that's what it's trying to say. So actually, when you see something that is happy and present, we will take it that, this is my thing. This is, I'm experiencing happiness. So this is lumping the state, this transient happiness state, with the mind, your mind itself, the observing mind. So actually, when we observe more and more, we just know that this happiness is just this happiness. It has nothing to do with me, because all these conditions arise. That's why it gives rise to all this contact and all this happy feeling, pleasant feeling. So this is just by nature itself. Whatever that this condition has, and this thing just happened. So if this condition is no longer there, then this happiness will not be there. So if you are able to see that, then whether happy or unpleasant or sad or suffering or pain or what, you can just put it down. That's what it's trying to say. So we take everything as me, mine. This is mine. So we are afraid to lose this happiness. We want this happiness to be all the time there, to be permanently there. So that's this clinging. Yeah, you are right to say that. So we can stop and put things down means, yeah, we can stop clinging to it. So because we know that attachment and clinging is the one that gives rise to further existence. So if we can stop, we put things down, then we don't suffer anymore. That's what the enlightened one has seen it for themselves. But sadly to say, I've not seen it, but I'm trying to practice to train my mind to be an observing mind with being objective, so that you don't get involved inside all these happenings. 对人事物, whether it's relation human, whether it's the things that you have, or whether it's the something that happened, you should always try to observe without, being happy about it, being rejecting about it. 就是它有一个口诀是不迎不惧不取不舍. You don't want to have it, and you don't need to actually don't want it. So because we are living in a duality, our mind is so accustomed to have and don't have. Have, I happy. Don't have, I'm not happy. We are very easily have this duality mind. So we have this have and this don't have. But in actual fact, there's 不生不灭,不垢不净,不增不减, like the 心经 say. It's just like that happening. There's don't have a rise and a fall. Actually, there's no increase, there's no decrease. It's just like that. It's just happening as it is, but we don't see it. That's why we're lumping everything in the same level. Yeah, I think that's what this passage is trying to say.
Okay. Thanks, Sakyam, for the explanation, and thanks, Sister Billy, for the question. Okay, would Sister Sakyam like to do the dedication?
Okay. 回向，愿消三障诸烦恼，愿得智慧真明了，普愿罪障悉消除，世世常行菩萨道。Let's rise and pay respect to the Buddha with 3 prostrations. First prostration. Second prostration. Third prostration.
Thanks, Sister Sakyam. Till we meet again, may we be guided by the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Have a shameful and fearful Thursday ahead. We will arrange the YouTube session again when Sakyam is more full. It's very quick one, very quick and easy. Probably 5 minutes.
We have taken photo, have we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. See you guys.
Okay, bye-bye.